Welcome to the Flore Fantasy and Sci-Fi Lore. We are in part 5 of our story and lore of Fallout 1 series. So if you haven't heard the other parts, you might want to check those out before diving in here. We're going to be covering the Mariposa Military Base, how to use the radio we found on the dying Super Mutant way back in the hub, where the vats are and what they're used for, and the experiments of the Master. So if that is what you're looking for, this is the episode for you. Roll the intro.
Do you remember the first story that was so spellbinding? It drove you to break the rules and stay up all night to keep reading, keep watching, keep playing. So good, you forgot your life and lived there.
So good. The moment it ended, you asked yourself, what next?
Welcome to the Flore. Our goal is to take you back, take you deeper, to explore and understand more and relive that childlike wonder.
Join us as we dive deep into humanity's greatest stories, no matter how they are told, through books, movies, television, even games.
One of us does an in-depth research on the topic. One of us is familiar with the topic.
And one of us knows nothing. So the right questions will always be asked and addressed for anyone coming into the topic, regardless of how much you know.
Enjoy another world, another adventure, another spellbinding story. Join us on the Flore. Welcome to part 5 of our Fallout 1 story and lore series. So if you haven't heard the other parts, you might want to check those out before diving in here. But if you are specifically looking for the Mariposa Military Base and the followers of the apocalypse, that is what we'll be going over today. We learned from the fortune teller in the Aditum area, right? It was formerly a slave camp pretending to be a city. We freed it. They're now a city proper. But the fortune teller there gave us the coordinates for the Mariposa Military Base. And this fits with where the Brotherhood of Steel wanted us to do our investigation of the Super Mutant. So we head there. It is a long journey, particularly from Aditum. But as we trek there, it is in our journey there that we will encounter the centaurs that we talked about, these creatures that are clearly a human and a dog and maybe some other things thrown into a vat together. That's where we'll encounter the giant mutated flatworms that can reproduce asexually, right? We'll encounter super mutants with heavy weaponry in our journey to the base.
Now, this city of Addington, is this going to go on to become the children of Adam? Do you know?
No. This will eventually be included in part of the New California Republic.
Okay.
You will not journey to this part ever again, I think, just based on the Fallout map. I could probably explore up here in Fallout 2, but as far as I know, there isn't anything there because in Fallout 1, the glow is at the very bottom of the map. No, you won't come down here. Yeah, because Fallout 2 is like above. So if we take the very top strip of Fallout 1, that map, Vault 13 is there. We've got Vault 15 there. So that tiny little sliver of the top of the map of Fallout 1 will be the bottom of the map in Fallout 2.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the next closest location is New Vegas, which will take place out in the Mojave Desert. And then after that, we just go much further east. So so we'll never actually return to this, right? This is just part of New California territory going forward.
Gotcha.
So if we just get to the very outskirts of the Mariposa Military Base, we can see a bunch of super mutants. We can kind of see them going in and out of the base, heavily armed force defending it. This is enough information to bring back to the Brotherhood of Steel. We can supply this information to High Elder Maxon, and he will then present his case to the Council of the Brotherhood of Steel. There is still a lot of pushback, more as how to deal with this now. Like, do we go on the offensive and assault the base, or do we buckle down and defend? Maxon is very much outvoted in this idea of offense, and so for the most part, the Brotherhood of Steel decides to just go on the defensive, lock it down, and prepare for an assault from this army of super mutants. However, they do agree to send highly trained paladins to assist you in assaulting the bunker. So, if we take that route, 4 paladins in power armor with heavy weaponry will show up to aid us in attacking this facility. Now, this facility has an absurd amount of super mutants, all of them armed with miniguns, missile launchers, plasma rifles. Like, if you survive, your team probably won't. It is a brutal endeavor to try and fight through this ocean of minions, right? Not only that, but they've got traps set up. They've got, like, security robots, turrets, right? Getting through this facility with your gun out is a challenge and a half. However, way back when we were investigating the missing caravans, we came across a dying super mutant who, in his death delirium, thought we were part of his organization that had come to rescue him. He still dies, but he mentions the master, and on him he has a holodisk that gives us a little bit of information and a radio. That radio is now starting to make sounds. It is close enough to his signal that it's receiving information. So we can now use the radio to contact that base and claim to be a patrol under attack. When we do that, 20 super mutants will leave the base and attempt to rescue this fictional patrol that we have just invented, clearing out a lot of the mutants that we will have to fight. Not only that, but the super mutant who was dying mentioned something called unity. The other place we have heard that name is in the hub. There's a small religious organization called the Children of the Cathedral. They will also talk about the unity. And we stole one of the robes of the high priests. So, take a brief moment to kind of talk about the Children of the Cathedral, right? Their group in the hub that we encounter is offering free healing to anyone who wants it, including us, right? They don't charge you. It's completely free, which is super helpful because if you try to just like rest to heal, one, that can take a very long time. You can spend 20 or 30 days if you're just trying to heal from a single battle, and you only have 150 days, right? Not only that, but every time you just try to heal over time in the wasteland, you take in radiation. So finding someone to heal you is incredibly valuable because it's pretty much instant, usually takes a few hours at most, and you don't have the additional radiation to deal with. So they offer this free healing to anyone who comes, and we will later learn that the reason they do this is they're collecting DNA samples, right? They are looking for people whose DNA is not corrupted. And that's a good way to do it. The second time we'll encounter the Children of the Cathedral will be in the necropolis. So the section of the necropolis where the super mutants have set up their base, not far off, is a small group of the Children of the Cathedral, once again just offering healing to anyone. After we kill those super mutants, they will claim that they no longer have a reason to be here, and they will leave. So having these pieces of information, we can then don the robes of the Children of the Cathedral and freely enter the Mariposa Military Base, claiming that we are from the cathedral.
Walking in with monk robes.
Yep. Now, it does mean you're basically going in unarmored, but they're not attacking you as you go in. Right?
Yeah, hopefully you won't need it.
Yeah, once we are inside the military base, most of the super mutants on the top floor are stupid. And so it's easy to fool them with our robes, and we can then access some of the computers on that floor and link them to the radio that we already possess. This will then give us the ability to control the doorways, turning off the energy fields that lock those areas of the base. And this will allow us to proceed to the base fairly easily. We're not going to learn a lot until we get into the deeper levels of the base. In one area, we will encounter a prison where the only way to access this part is to either sneak past the guard or to kill him, right? And if you kill him quick enough, he won't alert the other guards, right? Then in the prison, we will find the skeleton of an individual wearing a Vault 13 jumpsuit.
Mm.
So we do know at one point they had someone from our vault in their prison.
Yes.
Proceeding lower, we will find the control room for the vats, right? And it is manned by a bunch of people wearing high priest robes of the children of the cathedral.
The FEV vats, right?
Yeah, so there's a giant vats full of kind of this green, glowing goo that is FEV virus and maybe something else. Who knows for sure? But these are the vats.
People into super mutants.
Yeah. Or, whatever, right?
Weird
Take
things.
a couple things, throw them in there. Yeah, see what comes out the other end. But these are the vats where they expose people to FEV.
So, Aaron, it's like if you had a fondue and you dip it in, but it's going to be something different when you pull it out.
So
And apocalyptically different.
apocalyptically different. Because, like, you could tell a kid that, and he'll be like, what if we take chocolate and marshmallows and peanut butter and put it all together? What comes out?
And we're like, it's a bot fly.
Yeah, it's a bloat fly. Gonna try to eat you. You're like, wait, no, I want it. This is peanut butter wrapped in marshmallow.
Yeah.
On the bottom floor of the base, as we're kind of sneaking in, we will overhear a conversation between a intelligent super mutant and a high priest of the children of the cathedral who is clearly a messenger. And he will talk about the fact that they have learned about a vault that has been shut this entire time and is therefore full of primes, and that is Vault 13. However, they have yet to determine its location. So when they're done talking, we can then have a conversation with the super mutant. He calls himself Lou. He was probably named Lou because he's the lieutenant, right? Just as a master to keep it easy.
That's funny.
So, and in through this conversation, we will learn a lot of the plans. So throughout Fallout 1, there's a lot of places where you get the kind of big pieces of the big plot taking place, because unless you're really thorough through the game, you don't find all of them, right? I mean, I stumbled onto so much of the game with no idea what was going on because I hadn't exhausted all the dialogues. I hadn't read all the holodiscs. I just kind of stumbled around. A lot of times I was just kind of free exploring instead of kind of following where the pointers were telling me to go next. And so I just kind of stumbled into a lot of things, right? Rather than pursuing the mystery pieces in place, I was pursuing wealth and power, right?
Yep, that sounds like how you play games. Yep.
So we can learn a bunch of things that we already know. So he does make an interesting point when we talk to him about super mutants, where he states that none of us chose to be born. He says, and so you don't need to choose to be born again as a super mutant, right? You don't choose then, you don't choose now. It's fine, right? This is for the survival of humanity, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, and since you're not going to remember anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, back up for a second. Why is he telling people they didn't choose to be born? He has no proof.
He has no proof.
It's the same as with the super mutants, because you're going to forget anyways. So maybe they did choose.
Maybe they did choose. So, and we will also learn that the master is not here at this place, but he is with the children of the cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the first time we get an option for the alternate ending of Fallout 1. We can choose to join the super mutants, right? We can choose to reveal the location of Vault 13 and be dipped in the vats and become one of them. And that's how you can choose to end the game, just becoming one of the minions of the Master's army. Although you'd probably be high ranking because you have the intelligence, but they're going to raid your vault and, they'll have to kill some people, but some they'll, capture and dip as well. We've seen several hundred high intelligence super mutants, right? But within the canon, this is where we fight. We fight Lou and we kill him. He has a unique death animation where the final blow will take off part of his skull and a piece of his brain will fall out. He will pick it up and try to put it back in a few times and fail. before actually died. It's a really cool death.
Oh man.
But he's just like trying to put the brain back in the head and failing. But it's a good effort. I mean, how many of us can get that far, right?
Right. Yeah. That's pretty rough.
Yeah. So after we have killed Lou and his bodyguards, he's got some codes on him that we can then take back to where we found the children of the cathedral. They will all just like suicide bomb after that has happened. But now, armed with Lou's security codes, we can access files within these computers. And this will teach us a lot more about Richard Gray and the FEV virus. So it is here that we learn most of Richard's journey. So according to Harold, he just was left probably to die here within this facility. But these logs then detail what happened to Richard Gray after his exposure to FEV. He goes through we don't even know how long these time periods are for sure, but he could have gone through decades of confusion before his mind really reached clarity. And he definitely retains his memory. And he will then begin conducting experiments here at the Mariposa facility. So he will put things into the FEV, rats, dogs, people, and then he'll start mixing them, right? His first experiment is a rat and a dog, right? That's his first experiment in the FEV. He'll be doing all kinds of things. And what he learns through his experimentation and testing and everything is, one, if he eats something that has been dipped into FEV virus, he gains access to its mind, right?
Oh, man.
Way for him to grow his knowledge and intelligence. Two, he learns that it is not exposure to radiation that prevents someone from becoming fully affected by the FEV virus, but rather when the bomb was dropped on the West Tech research facility, or the GLOW, as we call it in Fallout 1, the FEV virus trapped there was released into the air. However, it's not effective as an aerosol virus, right? It has to be, I guess, skin exposure, or something you're dipped in a vat. So whether it's because it gets in your mouth and nose or whatever it is, like just an aerosol doesn't work with FEV. But that FEV virus was exposed to the radiation and it mutated. And that mutated version infected everyone. It didn't cause any transformations, but it sat dormant in their system. And that version of the corrupted FEV virus creates a kind of inoculation to the full effects of FEV, which is what produces that stupidity, right? That reduction in intelligence. So what he really needs is not people not exposed to radiation, but people not exposed to the mutated FEV virus. That's what it is.
Interesting.
So that's why they want people from vaults. Now, we've already known they wanted people from vaults because of this stupid effect, right?
Right. But now we know that it's not the radiation that's doing it. It's this exposure to a mutated strand.
So Richard continues to experiment on himself with FEV, along with eating creatures he's exposed to FEV, and his body continues to mutate and get bigger, and he realizes he is reaching immobility. And in order to continue his path of growth and development, he will eventually become immobile. So he wants to do that in a place where there is a lot of knowledge that he can continue to acquire and that he can defend well. And so he finds one of the old vaults in LA area near the Boneyard. And that is where he goes before he progresses his body to the state of immobility.
Gotcha.
He just becomes a blob?
He's very blobby.
Very blobby, but he's like got stringy tendrils. I mean, he's a weird mess when you meet him.
Yeah, he's definitely like...
Google Fallout 1 The Master, and you will see what he is.
Yeah, he is a mass of twisted flesh.
So for anyone listening, if you want to dig it up real quick, Fallout 1.
Master. It looks like a cup that boiled over.
Yeah.
So that is the Master.
Of what?
That's just what he calls himself, the Master.
Well, so he's the master of the children, which are
Yeah.
the super mutants that he makes.
Yeah. So he calls the super mutants the children, or his children, because they lose their memories and they kind of have to be retaught and re-educated like children.
Oh, he's ugly.
Yeah. All right. Also on Lu, we find a code that will enable us to activate the self-destructive sequence on the Mariposa Military Base. So, having killed, I think, 5 super mutants, Lu, his bodyguards, and the prison guard, we can escape without having to fight dozens and dozens of these guys. Particularly if we send out that fake patrol, which gets rid of 20 from the base, right? Instead of being just an absolute slog, which, like you said, unless you're a one-man army out there just cranking drugs and shooting miniguns, you're probably going to die here and reload a few times, right? So the canon version is that, once again, the Vault Dweller is crafty, cunning, careful, making good choices. And so all of these mutants die just in that explosion.
Gotcha.
We have destroyed the vats of the Master. And now we know that he is hiding deep within the cathedral, which is south of the boneyard. So we return there.
All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid right there. Do we have a treasure room question?
So, covered the Master, his experiments. Last time our treasure room question was about the experiments.
So, if you're the master, would you proceed with these experiments, and what would you want to eat to get its memories?
What would you want to eat to get its memories? All right, I guess we'll talk about what we're eating in the treasure room.
All right.
As always, this is the end of another Fallout episode, so we're going to leave you with the Wastelander's blessing. May the water you drink in the desert not shine at you in the night.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. We have mentioned in the past that if you go to the Patreon page, we have collections of all the different worlds and pieces of lore we have covered. For example, if you want everything we have ever done about Baldur's Gate, from the invention of D&D to Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance, all of that, you can find individual collections for all of those, or just one big collection containing all of Baldur's Gate or all of D&D. So everything we have covered, Eberron, Marvel, DC, Alien, Xenoverse, Cyberpunk, Dune, and more. We have collections for each of those worlds. And I do want to mention that on the Patreon, the only thing behind the subscription is the treasure room content. Anything that has been released in the podcast for free is still free there. It is just a better organization of the information that the podcast app doesn't let us do. They are just a big list, and you just got to type in your search words. On the Patreon, there are tags for everything. You got fantasy, D&D, creature features, Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance, all of that. Just an individual tag for those episodes. And as I said, we do have collections just to make this as easy as possible to find what you're looking for. We have learned in the past that a lot of people who listen to The Floor, they're interested in one or two of the worlds, and they may check out one or two of the episodes when we switch worlds, but they're really just mostly interested in that. So we just want to consolidate everything you're looking for to make it just as easy as possible to access. So check that out just to make your life easier. And we are working at making sure you can download any of the free episodes there. So even if you're going to lose Wi-Fi or connection, you can get the episodes you want before that happens, or just not burn your data while you're traveling to and from work or whatever else is you do while you listen. And thank you. I hope you continue to enjoy the show.